Some people have scars on the outside. Some people wear their scars on the inside. But every scar has a story. Every loss carries love, and every survivor holds a strength they may not realize they possess. Welcome to S.O.S. Stories of Survivors. Hi, and welcome back to Stories of Survivors. I'm your host, Serina Dansker, and today's guest is someone I can only describe as a superhero in my eyes. His name is Stephen Picard, and his story is a powerful reminder that one person's kindness can change the entire direction of another person's life. More than 10 years ago, Stephen connected with a young Syrian teenager named Ahmad through Facebook Messenger. Ahmad was living in a civil war-torn country where fear was part of his everyday life. As a teenager, he had attended a rally, was arrested, and was tortured. He was living with trauma, uncertainty, and the terrifying question of whether he would ever have a future. Stephen did not look away. Over the years, he stayed connected. He listened. He cared. He fundraised. He created a GoFundMe. He became a friend, an advocate, and eventually part of the reason Ahmad was able to leave Syria and make his way to Vienna to pursue his engineering education. Today, Ahmad is 29 years old. He was recently one of only 6 students chosen out of 600 for a prestigious internship, and he's now being sought after by other major companies. This is not only a story about survival, it's a story about friendship, persistence, faith in humanity, and when compassion becomes action. Stephen is also writing a book about his experience, and I'm so honored to have him here on S.O.S. Stephen, welcome to S.O.S.
Thank you very much, Serina.
Oh my gosh, you are so incredible. And before we really get into Ahmad's story, I'd love to talk to you and let our listeners get to know you, who you were before this journey began.
Geez, where do I begin, right? I think what brought me to Ahmad was probably most of my career has been devoted to working with people and helping people. So, I started out working in a very large state psychiatric hospital in Iowa, and then things progressed from there, not only in terms of my employment, but also in terms of my education. But the Ahmad story probably has most to do with the fact that I worked in protective services for children for about 13 years, and then I also worked in adult protective services for another 8+ years. And then after that, I did a lot of teaching. And it was actually during the period of time that I was doing most of my teaching that I met Ahmad. And it had to do with a variety of facters that just, that were meant to happen, I think.
The universe, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I was retired essentially from public service. I had spent my time in San Francisco investigating elder financial abuse cases. And then I was doing my teaching on contract throughout the state of California. And about, I think, 4 or 5 years into my retirement, I was actually reaching out to various students worldwide. They were interested in studying English and were interested in the U.S. and all that sort of thing. And that's how I met Ahmad. He actually got in touch with me. And, to jog my memory, it was like, well, how was it that we actually met, right?
Right.
And he said that he was actually searching for someone that he could practice his English with, and that he also thought he wanted to have somebody who, maybe had an academic position or was closely associated with that, so that he would have that expertise as a result of the relationship. And something, by the way, comes to mind as you were introducing me, and thank you very much for your generous introduction. But, this was not done alone.
No.
This took a village.
Yeah.
And there are some amazing people out there that have made this happen. So I just want to say that right out front. And
Absolutely.
some of them are right near to us where we're actually at today. So,
And that's,
all over the country.
And it's true. Not all superheroes wear capes, and
Yeah.
I know it takes a village, but you also need that one person to start the process.
Yeah.
Because although people have the best of intentions and they want to do things, a call to action doesn't always happen unless someone initiates it. And Stephen, you, by all accounts, were the initiator.
So as I was thinking about our interview today.
Yes.
Okay. This quote came to me, and it's from a person named Barbara Kingsolver. She said, yes, and she indicates. Here's what she says: "What we save saves us." And so I think this story is about the heart.
Yes.
And the heart breaking wide open.
Oh, absolutely.
And
let's talk a little bit about that. Let's, I know you said in the beginning you were reaching out to students worldwide who needed to practice their English. And what about Ahmad stood out to you in those first few messages on Facebook Messenger?
I think the despair and the eagerness to understand that there could be another life, that there could be something outside of what he saw himself as being destined to be or to do. And so essentially it was, finishing your degree and then entering the military in Syria. And essentially it was to kill or be killed.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Is that what he shared with you in those first few messages?
He was
a teenager, right?
Yeah, in the very beginning, because he was trying to carve out a way in which he could make this work. And he really wanted to see a glimpse of the other world, so to speak, a world where he would be free to be able to pursue his goals, his dreams, whatever he wanted to do.
Sure, like a normal teenager.
Exactly.
Anybody, they have goals, dreams, and when you're in a war-torn country, how does that impact those goals and dreams?
Totally, yes, indeed. So yeah, it started that way, and I had no idea of the extent of what he had been through and what he was going through.
I was going to say, how did you learn how dangerous the situation actually was?
I started to get photos. We looked at a few of them before we started today, and you could see his home of origin, where he lived with his parents, was bombed. The street he lived on was total devastation, and they ended up in an apartment in Damascus on the top floor of a building, which is not a good place to be in the middle of a civil war.
No.
It often would leak during the rainy season. They couldn't even go and fix the roof because snipers were nearby, and that could happen as well. But the biggest thing that came up for me in terms of what he had been through was I came to understand several years after I knew him, actually, that he had been a part of a protest in his hometown, and he failed to wear a mask for the protest, and he was arrested and thrown into prison.
Wow. And he was a teenager at this time.
Yes, he was a teenager. Yeah, very, very, very young.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was thrown into prison, and he was tortured in prison. And he saw other people being tortured in prison.
Oh, what a terrible, terrible thing.
It was, as you can imagine, it was devastating. And the trauma from that particular experience he lives with, today, which is part of the reason, which we'll get to that, is that when you you're not officially adopting someone, but you are adopting someone. You're taking on the responsibility for someone who has essentially nothing going for them. You realize that, yes, they need to get their health care taken care of,
right,
but they also need their emotional health taken care of.
Well, and that's so true. And I mean, I'm sure being, 12,000 miles away from him in Syria, you were in California.
Right.
How did that feeling of helplessness impact you?
I had no idea how we were going to make this happen.
Yeah.
But I think you and I've spoken about a thing called hope.
Yes.
And,
yes.
I'm not in the business of destroying anybody's hope. So when you see somebody who's in desperate need and they still have hope, you, as they do, you cling to it as well.
That's
and so
beautiful.
I just kept referring to that, So we knew in order for him to be liberated that it was going to take money.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was balancing the fact that I had spent the last 8 years investigating elder financial abuse. So I was very keen to understand that this was all legit, that I really vetted him. And it took years to do that,
Wow.
Including phone calls and so forth.
Oh, and I'm sure, you kept showing up for him out of the story and out of the compassion that you carry. But it wasn't a simple situation. As you say, you had to vet the situation, and also there weren't any easy answers.
No, including the fact was how was I going to get money to him, even if I was able to raise money? And that process in and of itself is tremendously troubling. I mean, there were any number of schemes that we came up that we would pass money to relatives so that the money could actually get to him. He did an online survey where he would win, I think it was Apple Awards or something. He would send them to me, and then I would essentially cash them in by using them on my end because I could and he couldn't,
Right.
and then forward the money to a relative who would get it to him, to Ahmad. And by the way, in the beginning, it wasn't just Ahmad. We were working with his parents, and because the whole family was in dire straits. So I can remember some of the first money that I was able to get to them. They went out and they all had chicken shawarma, which was considered a big treat indeed.
Wow.
So, and then eventually I realized that maybe we could make this a reality. We started exploring different avenues. And so I established a GoFundMe, and I reached out to various friends and family, and they started the original fundraising effort for in the GoFundMe.
Now, in the early days, what did Ahmed need the most from you, do you think?
Food.
It was food. Oh, my gosh.
And water.
And water.
I mean, I have messages from him where the water out of the tap was black.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so polluted. At various times, medical care of various sorts. Yeah, all of those things. It just was survival, essentially.
Boy.
And any effort that we made, to get him out, couldn't be directly made in Syria because the country was closed down for any efforts in regard to liberation. So he would have to get in a car, you would have to hire a driver, and then he would have to cross over the border in Lebanon and go to Beirut and do business. So that's actually how we were able to get him to the embassy for Vienna, Austria, in the very beginning. But we also did a lot of work even prior to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes people think, hey, you get the money and bam, things are done. But it's not that easy.
No.
You can't find a solution right away. And in Ahmad's case, it took time to get him eventually to Vienna, right? 10 years.
We
right?
think more than that. We think our first kind of dialogue started in 2009.
Jeez.
2009. So, and now it's 2026.
Wow.
So it's to get his liberation, which was in 2021, was quite a journey. Quite a journey.
Oh my God. Were there moments where you just ever worried that you would not be able to get him out?
All that held us together was a thread, online thread. That was it. I had not met him face to face. I had not met any of his family face to face.
Oh my God.
It was the relationship that we built online, and we did that through messages. I have thousands of pages of messages that I'm using to account for what happened. But in addition to that, you fortunately now can do telephone calls, as you know, video calls.
Yes.
So I was actually inside of his apartment. I met his parents. I met his brother.
Wow.
All of those things, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sure that it built a budding friendship but you were almost like a father figure to him as well.
He did. He wanted to call me Dad. I was not comfortable with that. And so I explored, well, why do you want to call me Dad, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, he said, it really doesn't have anything to do with the money, but it has to do with the emotional support you give me, the encouragement that you give me. You're not giving up on me. Even when I fail an examination, you're there for me, on and on. And I have to tell you, I think we touched on this. There was one really low point where it really didn't seem that he was going to get out. We had applied for a visa for him to go to Deutschland, to Germany, and we had it all in place, and it fell through for any number of reasons. Then we turned to the Czech Republic, and we worked there. That did not develop. So we really looked like he was going to be graduating from college and going into the Syrian army.
Oh my God.
It was nip and tuck on that. But I said to him, during this time of despair, why don't we do an online game of some sort when you really get down? So I said, I used to play cribbage with my father. And would you be interested? Yes, I want to know how to play cribbage. And so I taught him how to play cribbage. He taught himself too. You can do that online.
Yes.
And then whenever he would get down, whenever he would think it was all over, and I mean, he talked to me about selling his organs so he could have enough money to leave. Anyway, when it got to that point, how about a great game of cribbage?
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that would break whatever horrible thing was going on, and bring us back to the reality of that we're just two people in this world, and we can sit down and have a game of courage, and we can cribbage, and we can forget.
That's amazing. Now, your own heart. How did you protect your heart? Because you obviously cared so deeply for this young man, and living in such a dangerous situation that he was in.
So I think my teaching to a certain extent was a salvation. So I completed my doctoral degree in 2005 at the University of San Francisco and I wrote my dissertation on developing a curriculum to teach compassion. And so I'd looked at many, angles in terms of compassion. What does it take to teach it, and so forth. In addition to that, I have my own practice, spiritual practice. I would say it's a spiritual practice that involves meditation, and also there are been a lot of work done on self-compassion. And I think those principles and the things that I've learned and practiced there enabled me to deal with Ahmad's suffering, to hold his suffering, and at the same time, turn that into action. And that's what compassion is all about. I mean, a lot of people define it as being empathy. Empathy, it is empathetic, but it's a step further. It's actually doing something, for someone else. So.
And you set up this GoFundMe to raise money to help Ahmed get out of Syria and pursue his degree. That fundraising can also take a toll. Yeah.
So there was a dinner. We have a friend from the East Coast. We live in California. And she showed up, and we hung out because she's a good friend. We went out to dinner, and after the dinner was over, she said, "Hey, I know you're working with this guy in Syria, right? And what are you doing? Tell me about it, Stephen." So I told her about it, and I was at a really spot I didn't know how I was going to come up with the money I needed to come up with. And she said, "Well, what do you need?"
Right.
And I told her.
Wow.
And flinched because it was a lot of money.
Yes.
And she just grabbed me by the shoulder. She was in the back seat. And she said, "Whatever you need, you have it."
Oh, my God. So what did it feel like when you realized that this might actually happen?
I wanted to stop the car and do a dance around the car. I mean, it was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing. And not only that, I mean, my family have helped considerably.
Of course.
Yeah, Larry is, he's like taken portions of his teaching that he's gotten and been paid for and then donated it. I sold jewelry that I'd inherited.
Okay.
For the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been all over the map in terms of those people that have been just extraordinarily generous.
Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful when people come together to help support a cause or an endeavor like the one you've taken on with Ahmad. So walk me through, how did Ahmed eventually make his way to Vienna?
It's unbelievable. Well, first of all, his first language is Arabic.
Right.
And my first language is not Arabic.
No.
So he had to learn English, and he did learn English through me and also through watching a lot of movies. But when he decided he was going to go to Deutschland, go to Germany, he needed to speak German. So he took intensive courses in German and learned to speak German while he was still in Syria.
Wow.
And actually received certificate from the Goethe Institute in Deutschland, in Beirut. He had to go to Beirut to actually be interviewed to get that. In Austria, they speak German, although they also speak a particular dialect of German in certain parts of Austria. So that's the fourth language as I see it, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, he had to learn the language first. And then, we went through a very, very laborious undertaking to have him apply to, first of all, the university in Germany, and then the university in Czechoslovakia. And then when all of that fell through, we are part of Buddhist community that's worldwide, essentially.
Wow.
And we reached out, and we were connected with people in Austria that said that they could help.
Amazing.
And they were amazing in helping us make this happen. And so, again, he had to be vetted by these folks. He had to go through a number of different steps, including the biggest one, of course, was being able, first to get accepted to a university,
right,
which he was, and then to actually go there after he got the visa. So the first step was to get the visa. That was touch and go. We finally got it through again, him going to Beirut to get it. And then it came time for him to go after, and I've jumped over a lot of different steps, for him to go, and it was in the middle of COVID.
Wow.
So we had to wait, until the EU dropped the requirements, the restrictions
Right.
for COVID so that he could travel. And they caught a plane in Beirut and they flew to Turkey. And then from Turkey, they flew to Vienna. And they were met there by a lovely person who helped him negotiate the university and other things in Austria. And in the meantime, we employed actually two, but we ended up with just one attorney to commandeer this through the authorities in Austria.
Did it feel like when you first learned Ahmad made it, that he was safe in Vienna?
Unbelievable. So I remember, the night when he was taking the flight, right?
Yeah.
All night long he was pinging me, where he was at, and because I was concerned that he couldn't get out of Turkey. They would hold him up in Turkey because he didn't have the right paperwork or whatever.
Right.
And then he had to cross the border. He had to cross the border in the beginning of the journey from Damascus over to Beirut.
Right.
He had to make that successful. That took money.
Right.
By the way.
Of course.
Yeah. On the QT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he made it there, of course. And then he kept me informed the whole night. So I was up all night traveling with him until he actually arrived there. And then the person who really helped us on the end in Vienna, she was there and greeted them. And so took a video, live video call so that we could see that they were there.
I can't imagine.
It was
I can't imagine the emotional toll it took on you.
You saw, I showed you the photo there of the people had candles out. All of the folks that have been supporting him had candles out for him burning, that they would make it successful.
So when he arrives in Vienna, I'm sure he too has a lot of emotion. So what changed for him at that point?
I think, family is really important, right? I think for most people.
Yeah.
So I think he realized that he said goodbye to his parents, and that really hit. When you actually get settled somewhere and you realize you're not going to just hop on a plane and fly back to Damascus.
Yeah.
Because you could be arrested, you could be incarcerated again. There are any number of things that can happen.
Oh my gosh.
So there was that. There's negotiating all of the things that you and I take for granted. Where are you going to get your health care?
Right.
He had not had dental work in years. So he needed to have dental work done. So where was he going to get that? Getting enrolled in the university,
right.
Negotiating, living in a culture that does not speak Arabic or English.
Right.
So really honing in on his German skills, and then learning that he has a new dialect that he also has to tackle. And some of the classes actually have been taught in this dialect. So it's not just you can go in and take a class in German. You have to know the dialect because the professor is using that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So he went there to pursue a degree in engineering, correct?
Civil engineering, yeah.
And what tell me.
Yeah. He had a degree in civil engineering from Damascus University.
Okay.
So he goes to Technical University to work on his master's degree.
Okay.
However, he needed to prove that he actually passed the courses in Syria in civil engineering that related to his master's. So he's not only had to take his master's degree courses, he's also had to take examinations for all the undergraduate courses.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
It's really amazing. And again, he's not taking him in Arabic or even English. He would be glad to take him in English.
No, not his first or second language, but the third language.
Yeah.
And for someone who's lived in fear for his whole life, what was it like watching him begin to build his future in that realm? I mean, it wasn't easy either, but it was different, a different kind of challenge that he was faced with.
Well, something, as I've thought about our discussion today, something came up for me. And, we're all immigrants. We are all from somewhere.
Yes, so true.
I think in this country, of course, Native Americans were here long before a lot of us were here. But everybody's from somewhere.
Yes.
And so on that level, I could really relate to what he was feeling and what I saw happening. Because, where we're from is not just where we're from.
No.
It's the culture we're from.
Yeah.
The family we're from, the friends we're from, and then they're not there.
That's true.
And so it's really finding a way to rebuild all of that. And what I saw a lot was just curiosity, but also a lot of, just heartfelt wanting to really dive in and know what it feels like to walk down the street with a girlfriend and not be attacked.
Right.
Or even be sexually assaulted.
Wow.
Things like that, being able to go to a restaurant and order what you wanted to eat and not be conscious that every little dime, how much it's going to cost.
Right.
Having a glass of Gewürztraminer, which was, all of these things, new experiences and so forth. How are you going to get around?
Yes.
How are you going to make it? And so, initially when we were able to go after he was there for just a few weeks.
Oh, great.
And so a lot of the things we did were, we went to the Vienna transportation and got him a pass for the underground, for the subway system and the bus system. Things like that, getting him the electronic tools that he needed, made sure that he had an iPhone and a computer. He was going to need that for school as well. So, we did all those things together with him.
That's amazing.
It was just,
And then, so let's talk about that. He's now 29 years old, and he was one of 6 students in that school of 600, right? To earn
amazing.
a prestigious internship.
Yeah, amazing.
What was your reaction when you first heard about how he overcame all those odds as well and was selected?
Pride,
honey.
of course, pride. But joy.
Yes.
Absolute joy. I mean,
all those years of fear, effort, fundraising, persistence.
Yeah, and think about the opportunity.
Yes. It all comes full circle, right?
It does. It totally does. It does. And I think for him, his gratitude is just immense. He constantly reminds me and all those who have helped him how grateful he is,
Wow.
for what has happened.
That's beautiful.
He wrote me a card, on my birthday.
He did?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Dr. Stephen, he calls me Dr. Stephen some too, the father that came to my life from the other side of the world. When I think about what I should say to express my gratitude and love for you, English becomes a weak language. A few years ago, I did not expect myself writing you a letter for your birthday that I'm going to hand it to you in person. And where? In Paris. I grew up hearing that the world is small, but I did not expect that it is that small. I wish that I can go back in time just to look at myself as a young kid sitting on the computer about to click on one button that is going to change his life forever. A friend request to Dr. Stephen. Did an angel come to my subconscious mind, directing me to do so? Is it the stars or my energy that helped me? I don't know. You made me believe that the world is still a good place in spite of everything. I am totally convinced that we should not congratulate you for your birthday as much as we should congratulate ourselves for having you. we and everyone around you are the blessed one on that day, because on that day, the world witnessed the birth of the greatest person I knew and will ever know.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday, Dad. Ahmad.
You're really making me cry now. Oh my gosh. That is so beautiful and well said and well spoken. Even if it is a second language and inadequate.
Well, I'm working on the memoir that's about this this journey. Anyway, and I have a lot of things written by him that I'm going to incorporate. And so my workshop leader, my instructor, who's up in the Hudson Valley, she's like, don't change a word of it.
No.
Keep it just like it is.
Yes, that's so authentic and beautiful.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, and so now he's not only got this internship, he's being sought after by other prestigious companies as well.
Well, with the internship, this company Poor is the 13th largest, in the world in civil engineering. So it's a huge company. It's a huge opportunity. But the other thing is that when he was interviewing, he was also approached by the Vienna transportation system. They hire engineers for the underground and all of that. And so they came to the university and they wanted him to interview. So he's going to do a second internship with them. So he has two opportunities there, I think, really, for that to develop into something very special.
So when you think back to that young man, that teenager who you first met, to the man you've watched grow into the person he is today, talk about that. What moves you the most?
I think what moves me the most is, again, when you believe and you have hope and you don't give up, that things do happen. And you, a lot of that has to do with compassion and love. But it also has to do with gratitude and celebrating the joy and just a willingness to be there for another person, especially when they don't have any hope.
What do you wish people understood more about refugees, maybe trauma, survivors, or just young people like Ahmad?
I think in large part, it's getting to know, not only individuals that you might know are in these circumstances, but also all the circumstances that surround them. And I mean, after it's 15 plus years of knowing Ahmad, I still don't totally comprehend the adversity that he was facing in his country of origin. And it's, he loved his country.
Yes,
Syria is a beautiful country, but it was just totally destroyed. I mean, and I can't imagine what it's like to be in that spot. I really can't. So, I think it's a matter of being patient too, and being tenacious, and not giving up on something or some situation, just because it seems overwhelming.
That's so well said. I know, this story obviously changed Ahmad's life, but I think it also changed yours. Can you talk a little bit about how, helping him and how the sense of purpose that you've received?
Yeah. And I give him credit because he's very receptive to suggestions or advice. Yes, it's changed me. I don't know what I was planning to do besides just teach. And then, later on, not teaching, it gave me a real purpose, It gave me a real purpose. It was something that I can share with loved ones and hopefully inspire people in that story. But yeah, I mean, I've dealt with victims of child abuse and neglect for over 20 years. And so that helped me. But this was a real hands-on situation that I didn't have a clue about how it was going to end, right?
No.
And the thing about it that I don't think we've touched on today is when you reach out to help someone and you decide to help someone, I can kind of consider it that I'm there for the long run.
Right.
And it's so easy to just say, especially with Ahmad, click. You're gone.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
You're blocked.
Yeah.
You can't ever have touch with it. And that for years I could have done that.
Of course.
It changed me in that regard to not give up, to really stick with someone through it all.
The persistence that you should, and it taught you, I guess, about persistence, about being there, about showing up, but also, I think the kindness. It's also very reflective in your story.
Yeah. Kindness is essential. Loving kindness.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally.
Totally. I know.
Do you know the meta prayer?
No.
Would you like to know it?
I would love to.
Would you? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's said for yourself.
Okay.
And then you say it for another person.
Okay.
And then you say it for the universe.
Oh.
Or everything. So I'm going to say it to you.
Okay.
Okay. May you be happy. May you be free of pain and suffering. May you live with ease and well-being. May you live your life fully until you die. May you be safe and protected from all harm and danger. May you be as strong and as healthy as you can be in your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, and your soul. May you be soft and gentle with yourself and with others. Mm-hmm. May you love and may you feel loved. May you love fully in your life until you die.
Wow.
May you love yourself unconditionally. And may you have peace, freedom, hope, and joy in your life.
That is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Can I read it to you?
Sure.
May you be happy. May you be free from pain and suffering. May you live with ease and well-being. May you live your life fully until you die. May you be safe and protected from all harm and all danger. May you be strong and healthy as you can be in your body, mind, heart, spirit, and soul. May you be soft and gentle with yourself and with others. May you love and may you feel loved. May you love fully in your life until you die. May you love yourself unconditionally. May you have peace, freedom, hope, and joy in your life.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. Wow. Oh, Stephen, I just love this. This is just so beautiful. Now, I know that you're writing a memoir, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about why you felt called to write it and what you hope readers take away from your book?
Mm-hmm. I think there does reach a point in life, even though I'm very, very young, there reaches a point in life where you do look back and you put things in perspective. How did you arrive at this point? and it's very beneficial. You know, there was a guy named Dr. Robert Butler who has a type of therapeutic intervention for older people that is called life review. And essentially it's looking at that. So memoir is about life review, okay? And it's putting all the pieces together, right? So, I mean, you know how many years I've been involved with this story of Ahmad. And so where does that go? So probably I'll fault on the side of easy to write this story and then at the same time show how it parallels with my life.
Yes. Yes.
So that's what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm weaving in. It's actually, I conceive of it as being a quilt. And a quilt because, you know, I grew up in the Midwest and quilts were a big thing in the okay,
Yes.
all right. So there's a lot of quilters. My mother quilted, my aunt quilted. All right, so I have quilts that they made. I have one that my great-grandmother made that's very special to me. Anyway, so this memoir will be the pieces of the quilt that relate to the Ahmad story, but also relate to my life and how they intersect. And how they
I was going to ask you, do you think this story is really about Ahmad, or is it about what humanity is capable of when people refuse to give up on each other, or they look deep within and share what they can, right? It's
totally.
It's powerful, so powerful.
So, you know, in several of the courses I've taught, I've turned to a quote from Mother Teresa, where she says, and I'll paraphrase this quote because I don't have it memorized, but it is, you know, what you do in life are the simple things. This is the work that we're meant to do, the simple things, right?
Yes.
You don't have to build skyscrapers or you don't have to like make billions of dollars. Just do for some other person the simple. Read a book.
Yeah.
You know, take somebody a bouquet of flowers. You know, fix a meal for them. Whatever the case may be, it's those simple things. Oh. So I mean, this story in terms of Ahmad has grown because it had to grow to that extent to get him out.
Yes.
Because if we didn't have the financial means to do it, it would have never happened.
No.
So there's that reality.
Oh, my God. What would you say to anyone listening today who may be feeling like the world is dark right now or that they don't have hope?
My first inclination was turn off all social media,
Yes,
which you know is impossible to do.
I know.
And television newscasts. No, I mean, you know, I mean, go to those when the world looks dark. Go to those places where you know you're doing something that is filling your heart full of happiness and joy and gratification. Right? You know, that's where you want to go. And I'm not perfect. I have my downfalls, and
Oh my gosh! Well, I know that you have your partner Larry, and was Larry? How did he walk beside you during this journey with Ahmad?
Unbelievable, all the way, all the way. So early on, before we did a GoFundMe, I mentioned earlier today is that he had done he is a Buddhist teacher.
Okay.
And so he had done a talk, a Dharma talk it's called, and Dana is given, which is really a donation given at the end for the talk and to support the teachings. That's the practice in Buddhism. So anyway, so he made a significant donation at the very beginning. Oh. And that really, I think, started the ball rolling, in addition to our friend that showed up,
of
you
course,
know, and
the
dinner.
guardian angel. I like
for sure.
I like to do like a little fun lightning round where I ask you one word answers. So, one word to describe Ahmad when you first met him.
Despair.
How about one word to describe him today?
Oh, a million. I'll say joyful. Yeah.
A moment in this journey you will never forget.
When he actually climbed off the plane in Vienna.
Something Ahmad taught you.
To never give up. To never give up.
What was the hardest part of this journey?
I think the ups and downs of it, feeling like it's going to happen. You're going to go to Germany and study, and then have that dash,
Yes.
That's the hardest part, up and down.
What does hope mean to you now?
Well, I want to say it's everything.
Yeah.
It's not, it is.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, in the darkest hour, there are ways in which we can train our minds or whatever.
To see the light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In despair, there is always that glimmer out there.
Yes, that glimmer. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So finish the sentence. Kindness is.
Well, I think it's compassion, isn't it? Yeah. It's a lot of things. But
My gosh.
It's giving of your heart. It's letting your heart break wide open.
Your story is so powerful, and kindness isn't small. It comes in all sorts of forms. It could be a message, a donation, spending time with someone, just holding space, teaching them cribbage, or helping them.
You asked me where this came from.
Yes.
So I've done a little, my writing around compassion. It's like, where did this come from?
Yes.
So when I was a little boy, my grandmother suffered from a paranoid psychosis. And my family didn't really know how to deal with it. But they would go to my grandmother's house when she would have an episode of being very psychotic and basically the reference out of control. And I would sit in the car because my parents would not let me go inside and listen to what went on inside.
Oh, boy.
And I think that experience placed deep within me that I wasn't going to be sitting in the car
No.
in the future,
Oh, my God.
And I love my grandmother, and it was so difficult to see her suffer. She tried to suicide twice, and I feel like out of that experience, I knew that I wanted to be there for someone.
Well, Ahmad's story reminds us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things, and your compassion and action has changed a life. Undoubtedly, there's
Well, and all of the people who listened to the story and believed,
Yes.
right? I mean, they're amazing people that have helped this happen.
It reminds us that ordinary people, can become guardian angels.
Sure.
And at the end of every episode that I record, I choose to leave space for my son Scott in the form of a poem. He was a poet. He was a writer.
Yeah.
And today, in honor of Ahmad and you, Stephen, I wanted to end with his poem called Kindness. And it's a short poem, but it packs a little punch. It says, things I associate with the word kindness are also things that make people's lives enlightened. When I commit an act of kindness, I can't stop but feel excitement. The way someone's smile will widen and their face will glow like lightning makes these acts of appreciation really worth trying. It's almost like looking over the horizon, and it creates a sensation of people being united.
Beautiful.
It's just, and it just brings home to me what you've done, what you've done, and I can't.
When
I feel
does Scotty
so
write this? How old
He
was he?
he was 15 years
Wow.
old. And
Oh, my goodness.
he had so much compassion and empathy, and just
Obviously.
and as a teenager growing up, during COVID, it was tough times for these kids, and
Of course.
but I'm reminded through people like you how beautiful the world can be, and I just want to say thank you for spending time with me
Well,
today.
thank you for having me. I feel honored.
And to our listeners, if you're going through anything, please remember that you can always call 988, the hotline to help with mental health, and reach out to a friend or go on to Facebook Messenger. And
Right.
you never know, you might find Dr. Stephen out
right.
there. And S.O.S, Stories of Survivors, is where survival sparks the soul. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.